You know what I love? Magic items. I love getting them. I love giving them out as a DM. They add so much flavor to the game. They're exciting to get. They're fun to use. Everybody likes magic items in D&D. And I am excited because I got a new book this week from Kobold Press that is all about magic items. So today, we're going to take a look at the Vault of Magic. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome to the DM Toolbox. I'm Joe. Before we get started today, as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the like button on this video and help me out, help this channel grow. Also, when we hit 500 subscribers, we're going to be giving away 5th edition foes from Frog God Games. So if you haven't subscribed yet, do so now so you could possibly win this book. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at toolbox_DM and on TikTok at DM Toolbox, where I do a whole bunch of short videos and reviews on a lot of these books you see here on my YouTube channel. So make sure you check that out. All right, everybody, I'm excited about this video. I'm excited about this book. It's a book that I backed a long time ago, even before I was a big fan of the Midgard setting from Kobold Press. But prior to getting into all these Midgard books, which you generally see right behind me, I had the monster books, which I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people who maybe aren't big Midgard Kobold Press fans, everybody still knows the Tome of Beasts and the Creature Codex, Tome of Beasts 2. Those are some of the most popular third-party books, I think, out in the market. Vault of Magic, I think, is going to be the next book like that, because it is obviously not a setting-specific book. It is just a book filled with awesome magic items. And I've looked through this book since I've gotten it, and it is really good. Like, really, really good. There's so much fun, cool stuff in here. And I can't imagine any DM not utilizing something like this. I know a lot of times I'm looking for a magic item. I'm trying to think of something cool. You know, I do homebrew my own often, but, you know, I start looking on like D&D Beyond. I get on there and I start browsing the homebrew, or I just Google and I find stuff on, you know, a D&D wiki or, you know, Reddit or something. And, you know, sometimes I find stuff that's cool, sometimes I don't. But this book really is filled with some really quality, good items. This cover you see here is their limited edition cover that I bought. The standard cover, though, basically looks kind of like that. And it is a really cool book. They did a great job on this. Overall, you know, I go into this every time. Kobold Press just makes a good quality book. And this is no exception. You know, they even did the little ribbon bookmarker that I always like to see in books. So I'm glad I have that in this book. That makes me happy to see. But I want to kind of just flip through this book, show you one or two items from each section of the book, and just give you some examples of some really cool stuff in this book. So let's start off in the first section, which is weapons and armor. So when I got this book, I flipped through the first few pages, and right away on one of the first pages, page 12 here, I found an item that I thought was really cool. It's the animated chainmail. So the way I envisioned this was definitely putting this on my BBEG. I felt like so it's this chainmail that's got strings of chainmail that go out and attack at different targets and lash out at people. And I was like, man, can you imagine having a main bad guy with this armor on during the fight? The armor itself is reaching out and grabbing stuff, and, you know, just it could be so much fun to do things with. And I was just like, you know, I definitely want to use this. And, you know, obviously once the bad guy's dead, the players can grab onto this item and use it too. So yeah, I was definitely excited about that one. That was one of my favorites that I found right off the bat. The next section of this book is consumables. They gave us a whole bunch of consumables, potions and scrolls and things like that. So one of my friends in the Midgard Discord server mentioned this as being one of her favorite items in the game, one of her favorite consumables. It's called brain juice. And it's this foul-smelling, murky, purple-gray liquid that's created from the liquefied brains of spell-casting creatures such as aboleths. Nasty. But anyone who consumes this has to make a DC 15 intelligence saving throw. If they succeed, the drinker is infused with magical power and regains 1d6 plus 4 expended spell slots. Holy cow, that's awesome. However, here's where it balances out. On a failed save, the drinker is inflicted with short-term madness for 1 day. If a creature consumes multiple doses of brain juice and fails 3 consecutive saving throws, it is afflicted with long-term madness permanently and automatically fails all further saving throws brought about by drinking brain juice. Imagine going to some wizard's tower and this wizard is mad. He's just crazed because he has abused brain juice to the point where it made him absolutely insane. Maybe he's still drinking it, just thinking that it's going to work, but it's not. It's just making him crazier and crazier. And when the party defeats this wizard, they find some of this brain juice. And then the party's wizard starts using it. And who knows what happens. So very clever, very cool, very flavorful consumable item there. I love that. And that's happening. If any of my players are watching, that's happening. Okay, next up is a section of rings, rods, staves, and wands. Lots of fun stuff in here. But I found a ring that I absolutely love for a rogue. Rogues are one of my favorite classes. I have yet to get to play one in 5th edition, surprisingly, because it seems like every time I go play in a game, there's already a rogue in the game. Or there's a whole bunch of melee, we need some casting or some healing or something, and I end up playing something else. But I love rogues. My very first D&D character ever back in 2nd edition was a rogue. So I love this item. This is the Clockwork Rogue Ring. We have a cool little picture of it here. And what this thing does, it's so made by Kobold Clockwork Mages. This brass clockwork ring is formed to look like a coiled dragon. When you speak or whisper the draconic command word etched on the inside of the ring, the brass dragon uncoils and attempts to pick any lock within 10 feet of you. The dragon picks the lock using your proficiency bonus, but with advantage. It's treated as having thieves' tools when attempting to pick locks. It uses your dexterity stealth bonus for the purposes of not being spotted, but with advantage due to the extremely small size. Whether successful or not, once you have used the ring to attempt to pick a lock, it can't be used again until the next sunset. That's cool. I love just the image of this thing. Again, like, look at this thing. And I just think that would be such a fun little thing for rogue. Like, there's a door around the corner, but there's guards. So, you send the ring out, it slithers on the wall, and it goes and picks the lock, and then you try to move into that already open door. Like, just so much potential with an item like that. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's definitely one of the cooler items I've found so far that I love in this book. Okay, the next section up is Wondrous items, and there is so many of them in here, guys. There's just so much good stuff. I really, I couldn't nail one down to really go through, but one that I thought was just fun and neat and kind of cool, utility, useful one is this Crimson Carpet. So this rolled bundle of red felt is 3 feet long and 1 foot wide, and it weighs 10 pounds. You can use an action to speak the carpet's command word to cause it to unroll, creating a horizontal walking surface or bridge up to 10 feet wide and 60 feet long, and 1/4 inch thick. The carpet doesn't need to be anchored and can hover. The carpet has immunity to all damage and isn't affected by the Dispel magic spell. The Disintegrate spell destroys the carpet. The carpet remains unrolled until you use an action to repeat the command word and cause it to roll up again. When you do so, the carpet can't be unrolled again until the next dawn. What a cool item. I mean, just so much, again, utility, fun stuff. There's a big gap that you can't make the jump on, or, you have that one party member who maybe can't make that jump. Just something fun there. It's not an overly powerful item. It's an uncommon Wondrous item. It's nothing, overpowered, but just fun. Just fun to use. There's an honorable mention I wanted to make here. I actually wanted to go into this one in more detail, but it's a bigger magic item, and I didn't want to take like 5 minutes in this video to go over it. But it's called the Matryoshka dolls, and it's basically those nesting, like Russian nesting dolls, where there's like a smaller one inside, and there's basically 4 of them here, and each one does something different, and they're really cool. This is a rare Wondrous item, requires attunement. If you do pick up the book, definitely check them out. They're a lot of fun. Dot, that does the Kobold Press Twitch channel, really liked this one and recommended it, and I really wanted to go into more detail on it, but because there's 4 of them and they each have an ability, it would take a while to go through, but definitely worth an honorable mention here because it's a really cool item. One other one that I really like as well in here, this was done by Ben McFarland from Kobold Press, and he's a good friend of mine, so I definitely wanted to look at this one because I find this one to be something I can definitely see myself as a caster player wanting, and as a DM wanting to give to a player. It's called the Parapet of Eldritch Knowledge, and it's essentially this little tube on a necklace, and you roll up a scroll and put the scroll in, and whatever spell is on that scroll is now a known spell to you. You still have to use spell slots to cast it, but you know that spell and you can cast it using your spell slots. If the spell on the scroll is not part of your normal class, like it's not, in your class's spell list, it can only be half the level of the spells you know. So if you could cast 4th level spells as a wizard, and this is, let's say, a bard spell, it would have to be a 2nd level or lower bard spell. But if it's of your class, doesn't matter. So you can really have a lot of utility if you can get some spell scrolls. You can like swap them in and out to have different spells known each day. Now, I think if I was a wizard, I would probably just, if I had scrolls, I would just copy them to my spell book if I could. But a class like a bard or I don't know, a sorcerer or something like that just has known spells and they can't swap spells out every day, this could be a really cool way to get some extra spells. I think it would be a lot of fun to have that item. So that's a really cool one. Okay, the final section of this book is my favorite. This is Fabled Magic Items. And this is probably a concept many of you have kind of already had in some of your games. I know I had items like this. In the very first 5e game I ran, I did something like this. What these are magic items that scale over time and gain powers as the player advances in level. So what they will have is it'll be a magic item with some basic kind of just common to uncommon type magical ability in the beginning, and then when they hit 5th level, and then again at 9th level, and then I believe it's 13th level and 17th level, each time it gets another magical ability. For instance, there's this longsword here, and in the beginning it just basically does 10 feet of light, 10 feet of dim, and I think 10 feet of bright and additional 10 feet of dim. So it's basically a sword that's a torch. But at 5th level, you now get crits at 19 and 20, and then at 9th level it becomes a +1 sword, and if let's see here. You gain +1 bonus to attack damage and rolls. In addition, you have advantage on your first attack roll you make each turn with this sword. So every turn you get advantage on one of your attacks. And if you roll 19 or 20 for the attack roll, that property ceases to function until you roll 1 or until you finish a short rest. So I think they're trying to balance it out a little bit there. At 13th level, it's a +2 bonus to attack and damage. Rolls with this sword instead of a +1. In addition, if you score a critical hit with this sword, you roll damage dice 3 times instead of twice. And then at 17th level, it becomes a +3 sword. And in addition, if your target has resistance to slashing damage, it doesn't have resistance to slashing damage from this sword. If your target is immune to slashing damage, its immunity instead becomes resistance to slashing damage for this sword. So, again, it's a scaling weapon. And me as a DM, I would probably use story moments to reveal these powers as opposed to saying, okay, you're 5th level, it's a +1 sword now. I would, wait for that moment where they roll that 19 and, describe how you feel this extra power run through the sword. And as you hit, it's a critical hit. So, like say like these weapons are like family heirlooms, right? Like the player, this level 1 fighter starts off with this sword that was his father's that gives off light. That's all he knows about it. And then you start revealing these powers as time goes on. Maybe his father's spirit is in there and that's what's giving it its power or something like that. There's armor sets in here. There's pieces of these magical doors that you can put on other doors, and those will allow you to travel to different places. I mean, there's all sorts of cool stuff. There's this grinning skull. There's shields. There's necklaces. There's all sorts of cool items in here, and they're all the same kind of format. It has a basic magic property. It gets a better one at 5th level, 9th level, 13th level, and 17th level. Those 5th level and above, though, do require attunement. So they don't have to attune to it early, but once they hit 5th level, they need to attune to it to get those extra properties. But I love stuff like this. In the very first 5e game, a campaign, I should say, not game, but campaign that I DM'd, I had a character in there that was a barbarian, and he had this hammer that belonged to his father, and I wanted to give him, upgraded weapons as we played, but because it was this special weapon to his character, I didn't want to take it away. So I decided to make it magic, and I started to have these story moments where I would reveal that it now, got this new power. He'd see the spirit of his father or something like that, and it became a +1 weapon. And then later on, it got another ability. So, this concept I don't think is new, but I like how they structured it here. And they said, let's structure it this way. It's got a basic property, and then 5th level, 9th level, 13th level, 17th level, it advances. So using this format, we can all make some really cool items of our own doing this. So overall, I'm loving this book. I mean, if you are a DM, I can't really see a reason why you wouldn't want a book like this. I mean, yeah, we can all homebrew magic items, but there's a book right here filled with awesome ones. I mean, we can all homebrew monsters too, but we have 3 giant volumes from Kobold Press of awesome monsters that we love. I would highly recommend this book to any dungeon master. It's a super, super, super cool book. It's so well done. This is going to be one of the, I think, better known Kobold Press books out there, right up there with Tome of Beast and Creature Codex and Tome of Beast 2. This, to me, is a must-have for any dungeon master. Go to the description below the video. I have a link that brings you right to Kobold Press's store where you can pick this book up. Get it. I mean, this, if you're not a dungeon master and you're a player, here's your Christmas present for your dungeon master, guys. This, get the group together, have everybody chip in a couple bucks, and buy this book for your DM, because if he has it, you win. It's so much good stuff in here. So yeah, I would say overall, this is probably one of my now favorite 5e books I own. I mean, I have a couple that I really, really love, and I think this might be in the top 2 or 3 that I own now. This book is so good, so well done. Awesome job, Kobold Press. Really, really great job. So that's it for today, guys. Definitely, like I said, click that link, pick up the book. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. Don't forget, you can win this book too. If we hit 500 subs here soon, I'm going to be giving this away. I hope to do this before Christmas, so help me out. And yeah, that's it for today, everybody. Thanks for hanging out as always. And until next time, roll those dice.